Hey, Jeepers. Okay, good morning, Wayne. Thought I'd shoot this video because I think I have an explanation as to why why the starting process of your bike has been acting the way that it has. In some cases, I'm unable to make your bike do what it does, and in almost every case, you're able to make it do what it does. First, I'm going to start with the new parts, so just move this old guy out of the way and move this into center stage. Zoom in a whole bunch. And I apologize if my camera work isn't very good. I'm not much of a cameraman. I'm more of a motorcycle mechanic. All right, so this is basically the one-way bearing that we have talked about over the phone. You'll see that this outer ring turns really nicely. But if I turn it the other way, the whole thing turns. See that? So that's how that works, okay? So this is, counterintuitively, this is the outer ring. Pull that off. This gear is new, and we're replacing this from the old guy, which I'll show you in a second. And this is the inner ring here, and the inner ring also houses the bearing. Okay, so that's basically how all this goes together. Yeah, straightforward and simple. Okay, so put that back so we don't get all mixed up. Put that on there, and move this over here. Okay, now for the old piece. All right, so this ring, which doesn't look a lot like the old or like the new piece, is just simply upside down. So if I turn this right side up and cover the holes, you'll probably recognize this ring looks a lot like that ring there. And this is, pull this off just so you can see. You can see the similarities, right? Okay, so move this guy over here. Here is the bearing, same as the bearing piece right there. So pull this bearing ring off. And I just want to point out, actually, while I've got this in my hand, the amount of sludge that is inside inside this ring. If I wipe this clean, best I can, you should be able to see the wear marks on that are really clear. It's got a real clear indentation. And then, of course, if I compare this to the new one looks like, beautifully machined and, all right, so that's one of the reasons why I insisted that we get this new piece here. So we got all that going on. Yeah, not looking too good there. Okay, move that aside. Get the bearing out of the way. There's really not a lot for us to see on this bearing except that we know that it's worn out because it's been dancing with that other ring. Okay, now for the part of the video where I explain to you why I believe your starting process is as tricky as it has been. Okay, how do I start here? So all of this older stuff, it basically all makes its way onto the flywheel. And the flywheel, this is magnetic. You can see these guys, they stick to it quite nicely. The flywheel, regrettably, is made up of probably 3 or 4 pieces. But the 2 pieces that we want to focus on the most is these black rivets. These black rivets, which basically holds the base to the housing of this magnetic ring, goes right through to the other side. And not these holes. These holes actually lock the outer ring and the whole clutch starting mechanism to it. So ignore these holes. Really what you want to look at, these rivet marks, if you follow them through to the other side, it's these right here. And now I'm going to zoom right in. All right, now, okay, good. Focus isn't bad. Our major concern, and I think one of the reasons why you're having problems with your starting process, is these are the backs of the rivets. And as you can see, they're starting to show through on this side of the starter mechanism. And what I think might be happening is because this flywheel is a 4-piece, 4 pieces, because it's a 4-piece, what I think might be happening is these rivets are starting to come loose. Honestly, I really do. I apologize for my camera work, but if you look at the condition of them, there are small, teeny tiny little gaps here. And I think this is basically the flywheel on the outer side moving and the rivets are flexing. So I think what you're getting is like a sort of cavitating motion where the starter itself, the entire mechanism is being sort of, I don't know, sandwiched or pinched, whatever, and it slips as a result. And therefore, when it slips, when you hit the starter button, you get the zzz noise and the bike doesn't do anything. So I hate to say this, but I can absolutely proceed with putting your starter mechanism and everything all back together. But my concern is, even with new parts, I'm sure the starting process will improve, but this is not an actual repair. I think it might just be a Band-Aid solution to these loose rivets. And of course, the feeble human that I am, what I can't do, and I wish I could, is grab this inner piece by hand and basically jiggle to see if the rivets have any wiggle in them. But the machine, of course, can, and the way it presents itself is in a no start. So I think what we may be looking at this point is replacing this flywheel. And man, I don't think this is cheap. And I also don't think it's readily available. Anyway, my friend, I think this is the problem. Like I said, new parts is definitely going to be a fix, but I don't think it's going to be the solution to fixing this starting issue with the bike. Sorry, man.